So chapter 9 talks about organizing. Here we're talking about the objectives of the chapter to identify, describe 4 characteristics common to all organization. We want to distinguish between line and staff positions. We will talk about business organizations in terms of open system, the learning organization. Do you guys know the learning organization? Idea that companies today, they don't want to stay every day the same. They have to be learning organizations. Maybe some managers today, they show off, we are a learning organization. And what they mean is, their company, they continuously learn. They have training inside, they continuously train their people, they always have courses, they have self-study programs. And their employees, every day they are better. All of their employees are improving. And therefore, their company continues to improve. We'll talk about the time dimension of organizational effectiveness, and we will explain the concept of contingency organization design and distinguish between mechanistic and organic. Anyone have heard of an organic company, mechanistic company? Mechanistic companies are those companies that are more vertical. You guys know vertical? So they have a lot of hierarchy. They have, level 1 management, level 2 management, level 3 management, supervisor 1, supervisor 2, supervisor 3. Head of department, head of section, division director. Do you see? That's more vertical. And horizontal, they're more like flat organization, where they don't have a lot of hierarchies. Maybe they have top manager and then employees. Maybe 2 levels only, you see. Organic companies, they tend to be more flat, while mechanistic companies, they tend to be more vertical. The difference between a mechanistic company is a company that is more, do you remember physics? Companies, they do things that is more physics, we call them more mechanistic. Companies who do more chemistry, we call them more organic companies. Let's talk about a physics company or a mechanistic company. Do you remember that company where they buy a chicken, cut the chicken, clean the chicken, sell the chicken? That's more physics. Take the chicken, cut it, clean it, ship it. A company that is more organic or more chemistry type would be a company that is more like advertising. You put here, designer with artistic, boom, we've got this new nice advertisement. You see, that's more of an organic company. They do more like chemistry. 1 + 2 or A + B = C. You see, if you think about a company that do produce Pepsi cans, like say Coca-Cola, they do produce inside their manufacturing facility. Are they more mechanistic or organic? They're more mechanistics, right? They take the water, they take the cola, they mix them together, they put them in the can, they ship the cans. They do that every day. They focus on more mechanistic type of, the organization is more vertical. They have a lot of layers. Departments are separated by a big authority. On the other hand, if you think about, let's say a new pharmaceutical company, they come up with a new medication. Okay. It's more organic, right? Because here you got like 3 scientists, they sit together, they come up with this new medication. Bang. Okay, completely new. This type of organization needs to be more flat. You don't want to have a lot of hierarchy, a lot of bureaucracy. Do you guys remember what's bureaucracy? You guys remember bureaucracy? What's bureaucracy? So we will talk more about identifying and describing 5 basic departmentalization formats. You guys know what's departmentalization? That's when you have departments inside your company. Do you guys remember in this class, we had to make the 3 departments. Department of Security, Department for Presidency, Department for Logistics. That's when we will start to make departmentalization. Describing how a highly centralized organization is different from a highly decentralized organization. Remember decentralization and centralization? We talked about them before. And we said centralized, where everything goes through the big boss. So the big boss is like the maestro. Big boss says right, everyone goes right. Says left, everyone goes left. No one goes left without the permission of the big boss. At the same time, if you think about this decentralized companies, they are more where people are under a fray. They take their decisions by themselves on their own, and the big boss doesn't have to know every single detail, but there's always rules and regulations just to make sure the organization is going smooth. Defining the term delegation. Remember, delegation is when I give my power of grading to Nafi'. That's delegation, right? And there's a list of common barriers. Why people don't like to delegate? Why do you think I should not delegate?
Maybe because they are afraid if other people will make mistakes.
Yeah, you know, whatever mistakes he makes, it goes back to me. And then there is explaining how the traditional pyramid of organization is being reshaped. So we will talk about how organizations used to be and how they are today. We'll describe 3 characteristics of organizational cultures, explaining cultural significance of stories. Do you guys think stories are important? Do you remember in your workplace, did you hear any stories? There's always stories, like if there's a new employee, do you know what happened? And they start to tell you the story of, you know, this employee who was kicked out. This way, when people learn the story of the people who are kicked out, they know what to do and what not to do in order to be kicked out or stay. So that's the introduction. So let's get going. What is the definition of an organization? It is a cooperative social system of 2 or more people with a common purpose. So 2 people. Social. So it's got this, any social problem comes along with social. And it's a system. So there is some sort of a rules and regulations that makes the system. And they have to collaborate. You know, if they don't cooperate, it's not an organization. And they have to have a goal. If they don't have a goal, it's not an organization. So common characteristics is that they coordinate effort. That's when they multiply, you know, multiplying individual contribution to achieve results greater than those possibly by individuals working alone. Anyone have heard of synergy? You have 1 person, you have 2 people. But when they are 2, they coordinate, they work like 3. Remember in mathematics, 1 + 1 = 2. In management, 1 + 1 = 3. Because of the power of the coordination. And then the common goal or purpose, having focused to strive for something of mutual interest. And division of labor. We need to divide people into specialized tasks. So those people are responsible for human resource. They only focus on human resource. They do excellent job in human resource. Those people, they do marketing. They do only marketing, and they focus on marketing, and they get excellent marketing results. And so on. And then hierarchy of authority. This is the leader. These are the sub-leader. This is the vice president. This is the line position. So we have a hierarchy, so we can use the chain of command to control and direct the actions of other people. You need to have a boss, and the boss has the authority to say go or no go. You see? So if they don't have that, then we don't have this hierarchy. Now, anyone have heard of an organization chart before? You know, many people in their presentation, they show the organization chart of their companies. So it shows the skeleton. How many departments do we have? Do we have 2? Do we have 3? It's a visual display of the organization's positions and lines. So we have the positions and also the lines. Because the line shows who reports to whom. And also the authority that is useful, the blueprint for deploying human resources. We have vertical and horizontal dimensions. The vertical and the horizontal. There are 2 dimensions. Vertical, it shows the chain of command, while the horizontal, it shows the division of labor. So on the horizontal level, you know, we can see this is division marketing, this is finance. But on a vertical, this is top, this is middle, this is lower management. So the top management has the chain or the power to command the lower levels. Line and staff position. Line, those people make decisions, while staff, they provide advice and support. Do you guys understand the difference between a line and so sometimes you have an HR manager, they provide maybe advice and support for employees, HR function. Maybe there is a job which is let's say branch manager. These people, they actually make the decisions. So they say, yes, we fire, or they say, yes, we don't. We've got personnel staff that are assigned to a specific manager to support roles. Personnel staff, they, maybe assistant secretary. This is an example. Okay, we have president. They have those 2 These people, they are assist strategic planning and legal consultant. And then we've got this guy here responsible of research. This guy is responsible for marketing. This guy is responsible for manufacturing. Manufacturing has 3 departments: control, factory, and industrial engineer. And then maybe under the factory, we've got 3 shifts. Does this look like a familiar organization chart? Okay. We're talking about open system. Do you guys know what we mean by open system? Open system means that we interact with the external environment. In the past, they used to think of organizations as closed system. They think that what happens inside the company stays inside the company. And they make the company 100% inclusive. And they don't worry about what happens outside. They make it like a separate island in this world, the company. And that used to, affect how managers used to think about the organization, life, and support. So now we've got the open model, which says it encourages managers to think about the environment outside and the organization life support system. So it will look into outside the organization. Interaction organization subsystems, we've got technical production functions, subsystems that will define the organization's transformation process. Boundary spanning, that's what we call subsystem, provides the organization interface with the external environment. And managerial subsystem, it controls direct the technical and boundary spanning subsystem. So basically what we are trying to do here is we're trying to understand how the company interacts with the outside world from a technical perspective, so we can see what inputs we get, what outputs we have to provide to. And boundary spanning in terms of what the company needs to deal with outside. Maybe you need to deal with the public, you need to deal with the regulation, you need to deal with international. And a managerial subsystem bridge, how can you do control and direct? How you make sure that the technical and the boundary are working together. Okay? This is to clarify. Technical system that happens inside the company, that is the people who take the inputs and make them outputs. Remember the restaurant? They take labor and like raw material and market information. These people make them to be outputs, right? Managerial systems, these people, they will make sure that, let's see, we'll leave this for the last. Boundary system, boundary spanning subsystem, these people, they make sure that we understand everything that has to do with outside the company. Maybe we have here PR, they deal with outside public, maybe regulation, maybe we have here suppliers, maybe we have here banks. So everything outside the company we need to deal with, the boundary spanning system. And then management makes sure that we can get raw material to be producing outputs. Those people, they make sure we're good with the environment. These people, they make sure that this can work together. Managers get these people all together. Are you guys okay with this? This is just a model. This is how they look at the open system. Organizational learning. So what is learning organization? We said it's just a prestige. One can create, acquire, transfer knowledge that can adapt its behavior accordingly. Let's say necessary skills for organization to be learning organization. Companies that has good in problem solving. People who experiment. How many people in their job they experiment? Okay. How many people they never experiment anything new? Okay. So the companies that do more experimentation, they are more learning organizations. They learn from the organizational experience and history. They learn from other people. Do you learn from other people or you don't? Okay. And then you transfer and you implement. So you see something great, let's try to do it here, then see if it works or not. Garvin's model of the learning organization. This model says we've got cognitive, behavioral, and performance improvement. Here are some of the skills: solving problems, experimenting, learning from others, from own history and from others. And then this is going to be transferred and implemented. So you start to think about what other people are doing. You start to do it and then you check. Can we improve it? Are you guys okay with this? Cognitive, it means you understand it in your mind. Behavioral, you actually do it. And then you check. Now, if your organization, you have to be effective. Remember the effectiveness and efficiency? When we talk about organizing, we want to make effective organizing. You can't have efficient organizing. You need to get it effective. Because if you don't get it effectively organized, it's difficult to continue. Effectiveness, it's a measure of whether or not organization objectives are accomplished. Efficiency, on the other hand, is a measure of the relationship between inputs and outputs. There is no silver bullet. No single approach to the evaluation of effectiveness is appropriate in all circumstances for all organizational types. So the idea here is you want to be effective. You want to keep the relationship between your input and output right. So in order to be efficient, you have to be effective. Time dimension, organizational effectiveness, meeting organizational objectives and prevailing societal expectations in the near future, adapting to environmental demand, and maturing and learning in the immediate future. So that's what we call the time dimension. Just make sure that, on the time horizon, in the near future, immediate future, distant future, you want to be effective, accomplish your purpose, efficient where you get your limited resources, and you are getting satisfaction for owners, employees, customers, clients, and society. And then you want to be adaptive to new opportunities and new obstacles. That's you need to be learning. Capability of developing the ability of the members and itself. And then in the long future distance, you want to be capable of survive in a world of uncertainty. Are you guys okay with this? Okay. Contingency design. Process of determining the degree of environmental uncertainties and adapting the organization and its subunits to the situation. How much environmental uncertainty is there? What do you guys think? Do we have a lot of uncertainties or low uncertainties? We have the highest, right? We have war. So, but also you need to look into your specific environment, right? Even if there is no war, maybe there is, let's say, in the mobile telecommunication, they have a big war, right? In terms of prices, memory pricing, and technology, competition, and what combination of structural characteristics is appropriate. For example, some departments, they have someone responsible just to keep up with what is happening in the competition. Or maybe they have a special department for pricing. Maybe they have a special department to watch out of what the government is going to say. So you always want to, when you build your company, to get a good structure. Determining the degree of environmental uncertainties. You want to see how strong is your social, political, economic pressures on the company. High, medium, low. How frequently technical breakthroughs. Frequent, not frequent. How reliable sources and supplies. Any company, they have big trouble with if there is no oil, gas, diesel, electricity. How big or how is your source reliable, unreliable? How stable is the demand for your company's product? Do people demand your product? Is it high, stable, not stable? These are like questions to help you understand. We've got this Burns and Stalker Model. It says we've got the mechanistic and organic. What's a mechanistic? It's a more of a rigid design. Is it flexible? No. Is it rigid? Yes. It relies on formal communication. Do people talk to each other freely, or they have to go through the proper channel? Only official letters. Maybe more official letters. Do they have a strong bureaucratic qualities? Yes. It is best suited for companies that is relatively stable and in more certain environments. So if your company, you cut the chicken, you sell the chicken, it's a stable market, everyone buy chicken every day, similar quantities, and it's a certain, you know where to get the chicken from because there's a farm of chicken next to your door, then it's more a mechanistic organization. On the other hand, we've got the organic organizations. And those, they're more flexible. Are they rigid? No, they're flexible. And do they have Do people participate there in their communication? Is it flexible? Anyone can talk to anyone freely? Yeah. Are they successful in adapting to change in an unstable and uncertain environment? Yes. So, if you are in an unstable and certain environment, let's say advertising business, or in the pharmaceutical industry, it's unstable. Tomorrow you have a new disease. Tomorrow there is a new medication that makes yours worthless. So here, maybe you want to be more organic. This was the physics, and this was the chemistry. Next, we've got these characteristics. Here we will look at each one of these 9. Now, number 1, task definition for individuals. In a mechanistic, very narrow. You do cut the head. Next person will cut the leg. Third person will cut the wing. You can do that. Very specific, narrow. But in an organic advertising company, today you make a poster. Tomorrow you make an online media. Third day you make it on a billboard. Fourth day you make it on a brochure. Do you see? So it's very broad and more general. If you think about the relationships between individuals inside the company, here it's more vague. Maybe you don't know what the next person in the company do. Okay? And maybe if you cut the head of the chicken, maybe you have no idea what this company is about. Is it a restaurant? Is it you sell it grilled? You don't care. Because you are but in an organic company, you have to know what is the whole big picture. We are here selling advertising. So you need to know what is the big picture. Task flexibility. Here, no flexibility. This is what you do, and that's what you do every day. But here, it's very high. Today you want to do this, do it. Tomorrow you want to do new media that works on magazines, do it. Defining the rights, obligations, and techniques. Very clear. You do this, you take the knife, you make it sharp, you take the cut with this angle every time. But here, you don't have very clear definition of what is your job. Is my job to make designs for logos? Do I have to make designs for, full color? I make it for internet use, for big billboards, for magazines. It's vague. Here, reliance on hierarchy and control, very high. I only do what my boss told me to do. Told me to stop, I stop. But here, very low. They rely on self-control. You have this new client, go make advertisements for them. You're on your own. Primary direction of communication, top, bottom. Here, it's more latent or lateral, between peers. Here, they rely on instructions and decisions from the supervisor. Very high. But here, maybe our supervisor doesn't tell you much. Tell you just go to the client. Emphasis on loyalty and obedience. Very high. You have to be very loyal and highly obedient. You do it like this. You cover your head and you wear this special mask every day. And we want you to do it. And if you don't, you're fired. But here, very low. Types of knowledge required, very narrow knowledge, very technical, very task-specific. But here, it is very broad and professional. You guys get the idea of mechanistic? How many people work more mechanistic jobs? How many people work more organic jobs? How many people don't know? Okay. Sometimes mechanistics job, they can be, let's say for example, a heart surgeon. Very mechanistic. This is where they start, this is where they end. Very narrow. They have to follow. The doctor told them, you do it like this, you just do it like that. There's no creativity in the idea. You're a heart surgeon. Do you see? And maybe there are some people, their job is maybe you receive guests at the hotel lobby. Maybe it is organic. You receive the guests, and sometimes you carry things for them, sometimes you don't. It can be, there's no specific techniques you have to follow. So depending on the company, where you are, what type of, it can be between mechanistic and organic. Overall, generally, mechanistics, it works in an environment that's stable. If you're in a stable environment, probably you're more mechanistic. If you work in an environment that is unstable, then probably you're more organic. Departmentalization. What is departmentalization? Departmentalization is grouping of related jobs or processes into major organizational units. So that's when you start to make accounting department, marketing department, branch A, branch B, overcoming some of the effective fragmentation caused by differentiation job specialization, permits coordination, more integration to be handled in the least costly manner. And sometimes it refers to divisions, groups, or units in large organizations. Are you guys okay with this departmentalization? How many people they are departmentalization in their companies? Raise your hand.
In every company
Yeah, every company they have a department. What do they do in your company? Go ahead.
My organization, there is a program department.
Program department,
Operations.
operations,
And there are
others. Now here are different ways of departmentalization. Some companies they go functional. So they categorize job according to the activity performed. Marketing, accounting, operations, finance department. Sometimes by product. We have grouping jobs around specific products. For example, we're department of aerial. We're department of head and shoulder. We're department of, do you see, clothes. Geographic location, we're department of, Hadda branch, Mogadishu branch, Tunisia branch. Customer classification departments by customers, VIP customers branch, female customer branch. Workflow process departments in re-engineered organizations. Emphasis on the smooth and speed workflow between the 2 points, identifying customer needs and satisfying the needs. So sometimes we have this department which is after a workflow. Let's say, for example, companies, they do audits. They take the audit from A to Z. They focus on customer happiness, and that's how their department works. You see, so they go after a workflow. Maybe a department for, stripping out the chicken. Here we've got examples. This is functional. The finance, marketing, and then under marketing, 2 products. Under finance, 2 products. Under production, 2 products. Another example will be by product. Product X, product Y, and then under each we will have their own marketing. What's the difference between this marketing Y and this marketing Y? In the first one here, marketing Y, it's more in a marketing department where there's a lot of marketing people. Do you see? And they do all of types. But here, there's only 2 people in this Y. All of the people, they focus on Y. There will be only 2 people in marketing. These people are more ready for what happens in the market because they watch Y and all of its competitors. So these people are fast to market. These people here, Y, they're very good in marketing. They can do big scale new marketing strategies, but they are not focused on Y only because they have a lot of marketing other things. That's the difference between these 2. You can also have this geographic, why it's by region, southwest, north, maybe customer, industrial products, home products, and then maybe the workflow, new product development process, order fulfillment process, order processing team, sales team. You see, so here department for sales. They get the customer to the order fulfillment process. Here they send it to the order processing team. Customer service or customer account processes. So here they do it by workflow.
Something like IT companies.
Any company, let's say if you are doing a restaurant, maybe you have a department, their job is to, anyone have been to KFC? They have a department for the delivery. Another department for the people who are takeaway. Another department for the people who take it in. Now, not big much, but here they will have to wrap it up in a box, and here they have to do the caching, You see, so it's more of the process. What you actually do makes the department. You see, there's no difference in function or no difference in span of control. Span of control the number of people who report to the manager. What is your span of control of your boss? Your boss manage how many people? 2, 3, 5. The number of people who report to a manager. Narrow span of control foster tall organizations, while flat organizations, they have a wide span of control. If I ask you, remember your boss? How many people report to the same boss you have? 200. That's more flat. 20. 13. 4. 15. Do you guys see? 7. 14. 40. Your boss has 40 people report to your boss.
A huge department.
What do you do? What's your name?
Protection.
Muna. Okay. So, Muna, is there an ideal span of control? The right span of control efficiently balance too little and too much supervision. Situation factors dictate the wide span of control. Remember, if you have 40 people, how much time you will give each? Probably they do very similar tasks. If you have 4 people, probably everyone does something that is very unique to the point that the manager maybe cannot handle a 5th one. You see? So it tells you about the nature of the job. So here we've got this wide, you have 40 people here, or narrow, you have only 2 people here.
Okay, now we can be the second step. Now we expand according to the manager can be, as we said, limited.
Here we've got the situational determinants of span of control. This is wide, we have 10 or more people. And this is narrow, where we have 2 to 4 people. And then here in the middle. But you can see, in terms of similarity of work performed, probably here they have very identical job. Everyone do very similar job. But here they have very distinct people who have 4. Here, dispersion of subordinates. Maybe they have the same work area. But here, maybe they can be geographically dispersed. Complexity of work performed. Maybe very simple, repetitive job. But here, probably they have more very complex and varied. Direction and control required by subordinates. Very little. People just work on their own. You can have 40 people and they all work and everyone needs their own. But here maybe they need very incentive, constant follow-up. Time spent coordinating, very little. But here a great deal of coordination, even though there are few, 2, 3, 4. Time required for planning, little. But here it needs a lot of planning. Does that make sense? Yes? Idea centralization, decentralization. Centralization, retention of decision making at the top of management. While decentralization, where is it? You share the decision making by management with lower level employees. The need for balance is challenge to balance the need for responsiveness to change. That's decentralization. What is the power of decentralization? You can respond to change. And the need for creating low-cost shared resources. If you are centralized, then you share the cost all over. Remember, we have one photocopier in the entire building. We all share, centralized. We save resources. If we decentralized, every floor needs their own photocopier machine. It can be a waste of resources. Factors in relative centralized, decentralized. How many decisions are made at lower level? Very few in a highly centralized companies, if any. If it is decentralized, all of them at the bottom or lower levels of the hierarchy. How important is decisions? The impact on the success. Not very important. Here, very important. How many different functions, production, management, HR, rely on lower level decision making? Very few. Here, all of them. How much does top management monitor to check up lower? Here, they do a lot of check. Here, very little. Are you guys okay with this? Centralized, decentralized? Now, delegation. Is delegation important? What is delegation? A delegation is assigning various degrees of decision-making authority to lower level. Advantages: it free up managerial time. Management have a lot of free time. You let other people deal with it. I have a lot of free time. Nafa is doing all of my. It serves as a training and development tool for lower management. Nafa, you're ready to be an instructor. And then we've got this increasing subordinates commitment by giving them challenging assignments. Do you think Nafi now is more committed to do the homework? He's got to do it. He's the first one to do it. So that's the advantage. On the other hand, we can see the delegation continuum between very high and very low, and this is moderate, in the degree of delegation. In the low, investigate and report back. So maybe let's say if I'm let's say I'm CAC bank manager, I delegate the branch manager to, decide on loans. Okay. So if I do low, I will investigate. You come back to me and I tell you yes or no. Maybe investigate and recommend, and whatever you recommend, I go. Maybe investigate and advise on action planned. So here you go and you advise what action we take. That's another level of delegation. Or maybe investigate, take action, and tell me what you did. Or maybe investigate and take the action. Don't come back to me. Okay? What do you guys think? How many people, they think this is great?
What about the
How many will say, all right, here is more reasonable?
Yes.
How many will say, let's keep it at this level because you just never know, right? If they start to recommend actions tomorrow, how many people prefer low delegation? How many people, their boss is more like this? Okay. Let's see why people don't like to delegate. What do you guys think? Should I delegate to,
For minor cases.
or I shouldn't?
sometimes you have to delegate someone to correct the paper?
How many people say delegate?
Yes, delegate.
Okay. If I'm CAC bank chairman, should I delegate the responsibilities for the branch manager to give loans or not?
Some limits.
How many people say delegate?
Certain amount of money.
Alright, few people.
I think
Now, why people don't like to delegate? Number one, there is a belief that I'm the only one who can do the job right. Right? Who can do the job right? Me or Nafi? Of course I will do it better. Is there a chance, he can do it better than me? No. So, that's one of the reasons people don't like to delegate, because they think they're great. Do you see? And other people can't do their job.
It's overconfident.
Do you see? Overconfidence type, maybe. Lack of confidence and trust in the lower level. People don't trust the lower people, they will do a job. Low self-confidence. You see? It's really low self-confidence, not really overconfidence. If you think that, you're the only one, or you should not let people, you're scared, it's fear of being called lazy. Anyone called me lazy when
Especially when you appoint us for tomorrow.
fat?
When you delegate us
You
for
said
tomorrow.
no, as if you had this thought.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Let's see.
You can do
Vague.
the job well, sir. You can do the job well, but tomorrow is our presentation day.
Okay, yeah. Tomorrow your presentation day, okay.
Yeah, that's why I told you, are you going to be there backing me up? You said, yes, I'll be there.
Yeah. I was thinking of no.
This is what I mean. This is what I
This
mean.
is lazy, right?
This is what I mean.
Okay, this is what
This
you
is
meant.
what I mean.
Okay. Let's see. Vague job definition. Sometimes it's not very clear job definition. So, for maybe delegation will not work because Nafi' doesn't know what exactly he has to do. Do you know what exactly you have to do, or you just do whatever
He
you?
knows very well.
Because sometimes it's vague. You don't have a job description. You've never done it. You don't know it.
Yeah.
You every once in a while you need to check, do I do that or I don't? So you're not sure, and that becomes a barrier. So next time, let's not delegate. You see, if I go to the branch manager and I tell them, okay, You go investigate and come back recommend. They go, they don't know what to investigate and what to recommend and what to do. Do I do it? Yes or no? You see? So it becomes more of a job, vague definition. So delegation doesn't work. There's a fear of competition from those below. You know, you delegate today and tomorrow, the day after, take their job. Do you see?
You start searching for a new one.
Yeah, this is how, so people are fearing from this new competition. And then there is also a reluctance to take risks that depend on others. So sometimes, if I delegate, then this person will take the risk on my behalf. So they are reluctant. They don't want to take the chance. Now, why should I take the decision? You see? So whenever we give you the power to take the decision, you feel, why should I? You're reluctant. And there's a lack of early warning controls. Sometimes we do delegation when we don't do follow-up. So we don't get the early. So we find ourselves in a big, deep disaster. Poor examples of bosses who do not delegate. We always have those bosses who don't delegate. Do you guys know a boss who does not do delegation? How many people have seen bosses who delegate well? Okay, that's good. You guys are amazing. What a great group of people I have in this class. Where did you come from? The 22nd century or what? All right. The challenge of organization, changing shape of organizations. We've got this new organizations. Many companies now, they have fewer layers. We have more teams. And we have more smallness within bigness. You know what is smallness within bigness? We're a big company, but every department is small enough. And if you go to your work, you feel you're a small community. But there are also other small communities. And they're all small, that makes it a big company. New organizational configurations. We've got this hourglass, 3-layer structure with a constricted middle management layer. So we've got this where you have top and below and people in the middle. Today you see a manager, they work with people above and people below. Do you see? We've got the cluster organization, more of a collaborative structure in which teams are the primary units. Anyone in their companies, they only work with teams. They're always just teams.
Yes.
Where do you work, Nafa? Schlumberger. Where do you work? UNHCR. So that's where you see more clusters. And we see this virtual organization, internet-linked networks of value-adding subcontractors. So we've got this, people just work remotely on the internet. This is the traditional. This is traditional company, and here is the hourglass. This is the clustered groups. They get together. This is virtual. Every group alone, and then they just link to each other. Do you guys like these shapes?
Yeah.
No, these are like new setup of organizations. You guys know the traditional is where you have like top CEO, and then we have the 3 departments where each department follow the big boss. So it looks like a pyramid. Next, we're talking about organizational culture. Do you know what's a culture? How many people don't know what's culture? Great. How many people know what's culture and can define it? Go ahead, Lamis. What's a culture?
Culture is the habits of the place that you are in.
All right, habits. So here it says collection of shared belief. So we all have a common belief. Can you give me a common belief in your company?
Assisting people.
Yeah, we assist everyone. A common value? Maybe assisting people is more of a value. A belief is something that you... Transparency, okay. So you believe that everyone should say everything that they know to everyone else. Do you have any rituals? Some companies, they have like a big mosque in the middle of the company. Or some companies, they have something like a big partying location. They have a big cafeteria. They have to all go to the cafeteria and drink, and Any rituals? You have to have an annual party or an annual ceremony, or you have to have training every 3 months.
Maybe
You have a weekly what
Maybe can start on daily
meeting,
basis.
No, it's a bench.
brunch. Yeah, you do some sort of a brunch every once in a while. Do you have stories in your company? What are some of the stories you have? Stories. Do you have any story in your company? Let me tell you about our LIU culture to get you in. We've got our story. Do you guys know that guy over there? Yeah. The main objective of all of these rituals, stories, and myths is to create a common identity and a sense of community. And why is that important? Because it makes a social glue. It makes us all bind, member together. This way we become a strong organization. Because we all have this one direction, one focus, we all have the same belief, we all have the same stories behind us, and we know where we want to do, or where we want to go. Now, the characteristics of the culture is, it is collective. People, remember, organizations are social, so you need to have some social entities. It is emotionally charged. There's a lot of emotions in the story. And that story makes the culture serve as a security blanket for the members. So people there, they believe, okay, this is what we stand. This is we're here. So that gives you some sort of security. You know what, future should hold for you. Historically based, it gives you trust and loyalty results. It gives you a long-term association. It inherently symbolic. So there's some symbols, actions, they speak louder than words. It is dynamic. Culture promotes stability and also promotes control. Remember, we're here to service those people who need to get education. Our society needs our inherently fuzzy and ambiguity, contradictions, and multiple meanings are part of the culture. So there is some fuzziness sometimes. Which is part of life. Forms and consequences of organizational cultures. Organization values are shared beliefs about what the organization stands for. Degree of sharing, the degree of intensity determine whether the organization culture is strong or weak. Do you want to have a strong culture or a weak culture? Strong culture, it means all the people have the same background, have the same mindset, have the same values and beliefs. They can go all after the one objective. A weak organization culture means everyone does not identify themselves with everyone else. They don't feel we're all one team. They feel, everyone is separated and we don't have anything binding us. You see? And then it becomes a weak culture. We've got these forms and consequences of our culture. We've got symbols, we have shared values. We always have heroes. Do you guys have a hero in your company? You don't have a hero? Well, you've got the two brothers of Schlumberger. You've got Ban Ki-moon, maybe. You have...
They got 2 hands there. They got 2 hands.
Let's see. Languages, we also have, in part of the culture, we have a jargon. Do you guys know what we mean by a jargon? Jargon means, there are special terminology used. Do you guys know what's the IC unit? Yeah, it's one of the jargon used in the hospital business, right? The doctor will give you ACLL. Only the pharmacist and other doctors understand. You come here to LIU, we tell you AW. Only students in the bachelor's will understand, which means we're automatically withdrawn from the system because you have exceeded the number of allowed absences inside the class. You see? So every company has its own jargon. Can you give me a jargon from Pepsi?
Well, our industry is like an FMCG.
Yeah, FMC. Well, this is a fast-moving goods. Okay. But there are always maybe some words or terminology or name of reports that only your people know.
CPC.
CPC. Only people in
Your rivals, COP.
COB,
Yeah, people of concern. People of concern.
country operation, IRA. Okay, so there's special acronyms that all of the people inside the company know. Maybe someone who's excellent coming from another company, they come in and they have no idea what this jargon is. Also, sometimes jokes, slogans. It becomes these are all cultural forms. Stories shared, legends, myths, practice shared, rituals, ceremonies, and activities. And then we've got the cultural consequences that we have a sense of identity, individual commitment, organizational stability, and it makes sense of the individual. By the way, do you guys know we're doing this TEDx LIU Sana? How many people have never heard of it? How many people have heard of the TEDx LIU Sana? Oh, okay. You see that now, if you want to attend, I think you can go to this Facebook, TEDx LIU Sana, enter. You'll find there if you want to attend. They have this salon, it's on Thursday, this coming Thursday. It's going to be from 2 to 5. And if you attend, you have to apply online. All the people, whether you're a student or outside. And they take 35 students from students and 35 people from outside community. And they try to keep quota in terms of males and females, at different ages. If you're a woman between 35 and then you're all, immediately accepted because we don't have that, we can't meet that quota. And the idea is that the people come in here at 3 o'clock and they will see 3 videos from TED. Anyone have heard of TED? Technology, Entertainment, Design. They have ideas worth spreading, and the videos are maximum 15 minutes. So they show 3 videos, and after each video, they open the discussion. So the 70 people who attended, they can discuss their opinions about this idea. Because all of TED ideas, they're always, new, not traditional, nothing that you normally see. There's always something new. So these can inspire discussion of new ideas. So people start to discuss, what they like, what they don't like, how they apply, how they don't apply. And there's an entertainment section, and they take a break. And it's just 2 hours. And then you take a picture with on the booth. If you probably have seen it on the outside, on your entrance, where it says, TEDx LIU, and you take pictures there. So basically, this is some sort of an activity. Students, they do it, they become bound to it, they go around it. It builds some sort of a culture. People have a sense of identity. This is the TEDx community. They have the TEDx community worldwide. They've got this commitment to this ideas worth spreading. They are going to do this on May 7th, the TEDx event, where they will invite people who have ideas worth spreading to come and speak them out, and then they record them and they publish them to the international TED community. And it kind of gives some sort of a stability for the organization in terms of, you're not just there for the class and go home. No, you have some other activities that you can be involved with, and kind of makes sense to the individual student. What do you guys think? Next, we also have this organizational socialization process. Now, remember, as we said, the organization, it's more of the organization is a social entity. So we need to get this socialization. We need the process of transforming people from outside to inside. How many people in your job you have an orientation, where you orient people into your company? What did you get in the orientation?
When it comes, for example, we have new staff, they're on board, the HR unit, they orient them on their jobs and different units. And
So many companies, they have this orientation program, which is familiarize new employees with the organization history, culture, competitive realities, compensation, benefits, and storytelling, the recitation of heroic, inspiring deed, provide the social roadmap for new employees. Strengthening organizational culture. How can you make it stronger? You need to have an inward focus. You get morale. It says here, these are the symptoms of a weak organizational culture. You have an inward focus. You have a morale problem. You have fragmentation, very inconsistencies, ingrown subcultures start to appear in the company. You have warfare among subcultures and subculture elitism. Anyone have seen this in your workplace? This is the end of this chapter. It talks about the summary, organization exhibit 4. We've got coordination, goal, division of labor, hierarchy of authority. Open system, we talked about. Open system, you depend on the outside. You have technical and boundary spanning, and then managerial in between. Organization need to satisfy different effectiveness criteria. You need to be near, immediate, and distant to be effective. Contingency advocates, they can say that there's no one best way to set up the company in all situations. 5, basic departmentalization. We talked about function by function, product, geography, customer, workflow. In this chapter, we also talked about situational factors that detect degrees of centralization, decentralization. We talked about delegation, why people don't delegate. We talked about reshaping traditional pyramids. We've got the new shapes, hourglass, cluster, virtual. Organizational culture, which is a social glue. It binds people together. And then these are the terms. Any question on these terms? Any?